Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Fire at Khemlani Mart warehouse could cost millions in damage. Outrageous youth advocate blasts school administrators over grooming policy. And later in sports, no Andre Russell in West Indies T20 World Cup squad. I'm Kelisha Williams and here are the details. Firefighters are now venting out the building of the Khemlani Mart in Manor Park, St. Andrew, following a massive fire at the facility this morning. As we hear in this report from Cody and Barrett, 60 firefighters responded to the blaze, and up to news time, it was still not contained.
The first alert was made around 6:45 Wednesday morning of fire coming from the back of the Khemlani Mart furniture store where its warehouse is located. It took the firefighters from the Stony Hill division 10 minutes to arrive. Shortly after, units from Halfway Tree arrived, followed by additional units.
We responded initially with 3 units. We now have 7 units on location. As it is now, the fire is not yet under control. But what I can tell you is that the fire has been restricted to the back of the building. That section of the building is more of a warehouse storeroom kind of situation, and we are doing what we can now to maintain it in that area and eventually to put the fire out and make sure that the front of the building is not affected.
The owner, Steve Khemlani, says he received a call close to 7 a.m. and rushed to his store. Upon arrival and observation, he concluded the cause of the fire.
Well, it looks like JPS transformers, blue at the back. If you go around the back, you'll see there are transformers that have blown. And it looks like it came right into the building.
Mr. Khemlani says the blaze then traveled to a generator room with fuel. Inside the building was then engulfed with flames. Firefighters had to use heavy-duty equipment to gain access to sections of the building to take on the blaze. They had challenges as they ran out of water and had to source more. But the theory on the cause of the fire was not confirmed by Mr. Ebanks.
We have about 5 investigators on the scene. What they are doing is doing preliminary work right now. After that preliminary work, then they'll be going into additional investigation to try and ascertain the cause of the fire.
The exact time when the fire started is not clear. Up to news time, the fire brigade and the owner of the furniture store were still trying to assess the damage.
We're going to have to assess how much damage has been in there. We can't get an access. So they're breaking all the glasses to get the smoke out. And I'm hoping very shortly, they'll have the fire under control.
Cody and Barrett, TVJ News.
One youth advocate is blasting school administrators for what is being described as enforcing outrageous grooming policies in schools. As we hear in this report, there is also a message for unruly students. Pants not loose enough to be pulled over the knees and tunics more than 5 inches above the ankle. Rules which caused outrage at the Godfrey Stewart High School in Westmoreland on Monday. It has reignited the conversation on what has been deemed an outdated grooming policy in some schools.
I think it needs reform. I think it needs modernization as well. In 2022, students should not be locked out of school because of the way they look, or they should be able to express their true selves at school without being barred or limited.
Sabrina Barnes has been advocating for the policies to be changed for some time now. Having just completed the first 5 years of high school, for her, it is personal.
School prepares us for a liberal society, and in society, no one restricts us as much as these secondary schools do. So I'm really concerned about if students are actually expected to go to school and get an education or to be conformed to a certain grooming policy.
But many have argued that the rules are in place to instill discipline in students. As for the case at Godfrey Stewart, the chairman had indicated that the grooming policy has been instrumental in restoring order in the school. Education Minister Favour Williams has also voiced support for the school's administration on the issue.
So we understand we are Jamaican. Give us an inch to take a mile. However, it's modernization that we're asking for. We're not asking for the removal of the principles and standards.
But Sabrina Barnes believes wearing a uniform 5 inches above the ankle, for instance, is just too much. Now she's calling on administrators and students alike to play their part.
I want to urge students as well, if you know that you're actually being rebellious, stop making it bad for the others. I know definitely that once you have on pants that is, tight, that's outrageous. That's not even acceptable in society. So what I'm calling on the students themselves to do is to adhere to principles and rules that are good for your well-being and will actually allow you to be, your full self. But I'm also calling on the school administrations to modernize these policies for our students instead of barring them outside of school.
At what point do we collect the amusement license fee? That question is being asked by some councillors at the Hanover Municipal Corporation as they raise concerns about party permits in the parish. O'Shane Masters has more.
The Hanover Municipal Corporation is raising questions about the process in granting amusement license for parties. The corporation says an increasing number of illegal parties have been happening since the entertainment sector was reopened following the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, chairman of the corporation, Sheridan Samuels, says that's not the only challenge being faced as it regards to parties. He told councillors at the latest corporation meeting that a number of events which were granted permission by the municipal corporation have been revoked by the police. But head of the Hanover Police, Superintendent Sharon Beeput, says the police have good reasons for such a move.
Persons use other person's name with the scamming to put on these events. So when we do our double check, we stop them.
It's why Councillor for the Green Island Division, Marvel Sewell, made this suggestion.
I don't think we should collect the money in the first instance, Chairman. I think we should come with something first that is a document we give them to go to the police. If the police when the police approve it, then we collect. If the police don't approve it, we don't collect.
But that was flatly rejected by another councillor.
Our objective is to make sure that we collect. Sometimes we cry that we're not collecting enough funding.
Money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, but as we know, sir, but the fact is, sir, is that when we collect the money and we send them to the police, if the police sees it different, then it's a matter of the investigation of the police.
He further contends that the statement by Mr. Sewell is going down a path which may cause problems for the corporation in the long term.
Because we might be forcing people to have this party without coming to us, period. So what we need to do, sir, is let us look at it again. Continue to do what we're doing, collect the funding, send them off to the what? The police. It's a police job to know whether or not the party that was held in Section A was a disaster, or the persons who are putting on the party are questionable people.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Continuing the news now, the standard of care at the Spanish Town Hospital in St. Catherine is expected to significantly improve following the handing over of refurbished hemodialysis machines recently. As Sander Williams reports, the Southeast Regional Health Authority, SARA, believes the machine can help patients suffering from kidney disease to carry on active lives.
A total of 10 refurbished hemodialysis machines were handed over to the Spanish Town Hospital in St. Catherine on Monday. The machine is used to treat advanced kidney failure. It filters waste, salts, and fluid from the blood when the kidneys are no longer healthy enough to perform this function. Speaking at the handing over ceremony at the hospital, Chairman of the Southeast Regional Health Authority, SARA, Wentworth Charles, says the machines will improve health care for patients with kidney disease as well as staff.
The standard of care will improve considerably and our patient will be better off. our nursing staff, the doctors and other auxiliary workers will be better off for working in an environment that they will be much more comfortable.
Mr. Charles says there has been an increase in demand for the machines at the Type B facility.
And I am told that since 2016, the current waiting list here is in the region of 300 patients. But between August 21st and 2022, some 4,705 dialysis sessions were done.
The machines, valued at over $28 million, were donated by Renal Dynamics. Chris Davenport is Technical Services Manager at the Florida-based entity.
We strive to maintain our special relationship with Jamaica and Southeast Regional Health Authority and trying to be just partners in health, partners in care for the patients, for the local patients of Jamaica. When we were opening Cornwall Regional Hospital, there was a delay in shipping. It took an extra 2 weeks to get the clinic open. 10 people died while they were waiting for that clinic to open. So we know the need and the urgency that's required. So that's why we try to make sure we get supplies in a timely fashion, get repairs done in a timely fashion as well.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
There were delays at the St. Catherine Parish Court this morning after persons turned up at the facility to find the gates padlocked. TVJ News understands that the keys to the court building could not be found. There was disquiet among persons who were delayed by the mishap. One man spoke to our news team off camera.
We're here until finally they bring in an electrician, someone with to cut off the locks. So the locks were eventually cut off, and we were able to go inside the precincts of the courthouse. They are still waiting on police officers to do the preliminaries to set things in order, so we are still awaiting. But one of my concerns is that justice delayed is always justice denied.
Now we're trying to get a comment from Courts Administration Division, but up to news time, we did not receive a response. And with the latest in the economy, here's Cody and Barrett with the Business Minute.
The Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, has reported the findings of this year's annual school textbook survey, which was conducted between August 8 and 12. On Tuesday, the CAC's Director of Research, Raquel White, revealed that there was an average 8.51% increase in textbook prices. She noted that in the greater Kingston metropolitan area, it's just about 7%, and among the rural towns, it was higher by as much as 11%. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen has called for cuts to electricity use across the bloc and windfall taxes on energy firms to tackle high prices. She told the European Parliament that gas and electricity prices had hit an all-time high after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. She called for electricity consumption to be cut at peak hours by at least 5%. But plans for a cap on the price of natural gas, a key Russian export to the EU, were put on hold. That's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
The Business Minute, brought to you by
Business Smarter with Smart Mobile Solutions, Jamaica's one-stop shop for the best mobile technology services.
And here's a preview of what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In this evening's health report, we'll look at postpartum depression.
Because pregnancy in itself is an extraordinarily stressful period. And it's not just takes a toll on your body physically, but also takes a toll on you emotionally and psychologically. Because when you talk about changes, you're not only going through changes to your family structure, but to your physical appearance, to your body, to your hormonal levels. So it's a very, very draining an extremely traumatic period for a woman to go through.
That's the health report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's healthy living tip. Build a secure bond with your baby. Take care of yourself. Build a support network. And try psychotherapy and medication.
It's now time for our regional and international stories with Sandy Williams.
In the region, the Belize Agricultural Health Authority has placed a poultry farm in Blue Creek Village under quarantine after detecting the avian influenza in its animals. Avian flu or bird flu is an infectious type of influenza that spreads among birds. In rare cases, it can affect humans. The agency says the farm currently houses over 25,000 chickens, and containment measures are being put in place to restrict poultry products exiting the Blue Creek community. On the international scene, some flights from London Heathrow will be disrupted between 1:50 p.m. and 3:40 p.m. local time today to ensure silence over central London as the ceremonial procession of Queen Elizabeth II's coffin moves from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Hall. Heathrow Airport, one of the world's busiest international airports, said Tuesday that out of respect for the mourning period, it will be making appropriate alteration to their operation. Passengers will be notified by their airlines directly of any changes to their flights. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Kalisha Williams. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.